Phosphor Dot friends, Earl at thelogbook.com, back to pick up where we left off with Mars Horizon. If you recall, we had just completed the first artificial satellite launch, which was successful. You're now going to complete this request mission. If you recall, there are milestone missions which are necessary to advance the plot of the game, but there are also request missions which help you to accumulate scientific knowledge and occasionally some much needed cash. Our research is ongoing into the kind of rockets that will eventually get us to the moon. And everyone else is quite a bit behind us. Okay, here's one of these random events that I was telling you about. Following your agency launching the first artificial satellite, several foreign newspapers have claimed the satellite represents a global security threat. China requests that your agency release the full specifications of your Explorer payload to prove its scientific purpose and quell public anxiety. Your advisors believe agreeing to the request will improve your reputation with China, though they will likely gain science from it. I always err on the side of sharing the data. So, maybe they got some science out of it. Big whoop. The chances are much greater of being able to benefit from sharing that knowledge than there being some detrimental effect. As you can see here, looking down through the missions yet to be unlocked, we have some very simple stuff. We have put an animal in space. Some hapless dog or chimp, probably. Satellite imaging, human in space, multi-crew orbit, orbital EVA, commercial satellites, space station, which in this case is going to be something like Skylab. Modular space station, that's something much more like the ISS. You can fly the grand tour to the outer planets, launch a space telescope, an X-ray telescope, keep adding on to your modular space station, and that's just the stuff that happens in Earth orbit, because, believe it or not, there's much more to be accomplished by checking to see what's going on the other planets. Alright, we're 1 month out from... data from your recent artificial satellite mission has confirmed belts of trapped radiation surround Earth, shielding the planet from the sun's cosmic rays. I'm glad that the game just kind of mentions these things that are real without necessarily naming them, because we're in some alternate timeline here, and for all I know, those would be the Van Morrison radiation belts. Alright, planning this this request launch. We will start trying to launch it in June. I just have a little bit of an issue with trying to launch stuff in non-optimal launch windows. I mean, you can if you've developed a booster family to the point that it is not going to give you any problems. The research lab is complete. Alright. Research lab is not a cheap thing. but it is a very important thing to have. So it needs to happen. Alright, we're going to start planning for that first uncrewed mission to the moon. I'm not going to completely skip the whole thing about launching animals into space, but I'm prioritizing strategically. Alright, it's launch day for our little rocket here. Our little rocket. Sometimes I get punchy and I just start renaming these missions to whatever. Something descriptive so I remember what it actually is. Ugh. 50% launch reliability, and that's with good conditions, conferring a 5% bonus.
5, 4, 3,
you can't always
2,
reschedule.
1.
You don't always have to fall victim to go forward.
We have liftoff.
But I'm trying to show you more of the game. That's going to leave a mark. The following event occurred during launch. Boom. Yeah, that was the event. Got it. We gained some experience with that kind of rocket, which won't be used terribly often. But, okay. Orbital radio. Okay, well, let's build that next and launch that next. Our research lab is still under construction. Alright, after analyzing data from your recently failed test launch, researchers have identified several improvements that can be made to your booster technology. Sometimes we learn more when the things blow up. Okay. Alright, and we will start researching the Animal in Space mission. Now that would be much more interesting if it was Animal from the Muppet Show. Write the Space Muppet fanfic that you want to read. That's what I say. Alright, so this is for our orbital radio request mission. We're going to use the same booster we used to launch an Explorer satellite last time. Although note that we now have researched an additional first stage, which is way surplus to requirements. It can launch 1,000 kilograms. We really only need to launch 300. So that will be built in a month. Oh, we can start planning that lunar orbit mission. Alright, Japan is the second nation in this alternate timeline to launch an artificial satellite. And there it is. Good for them. Alright. Prospect of launching the first human into space is dominating the newspapers. Most have labeled it an impossible endeavor, while the less skeptical outlets claim a rival agency is bound to get there first. Several have contacted your agency for a statement. just to keep the money coming in from public support, yeah, we'll do some macho swagger here while we're still launching satellites. I mean, that's really big talk, considering that we're still trying to launch satellites successfully. Alright, this satellite won't go up until January. The good news is that sometimes that gives your team time to do more training, which will increase either the payload or booster reliability, sometimes both. So, animal in space. But not the rest of Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem. Oh no, my friends. They will have to wait for their rocket. Alright, let's just jump to the next event. Everyone's planning that lunar orbit mission, so... Oh, wow. Okay, so we got a substantial budget increase. It's January 1959. Let's launch this rocket and see what happens. It's raining. Not the end of the world, but I don't have a great feeling about it. Oof, no, 21% launch reliability. I think we can try again in a month. Scrub. Okay, let's try that again. Is it still raining? Oh, good, it's not. What do our chances look like on this morning in February 1959? %39% launch reliability. We can try.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's a roll of the dice, but
we have liftoff.
I think we made it. Alright, now you have auto-resolve here, which if you have flown this kind of payload before, if you have flown this kind of mission before, you could tell the computer, you kind of do what I did last time. Chances are pretty good it will succeed. Don't auto-resolve something that you haven't flown before, because the chances of it succeeding are much lower because you have no experience with either that kind of payload or that kind of mission. Alright, lunar orbit. Let's... Wow, the Soviet Union hasn't even put an artificial satellite up yet. Going to build a rocket test pad next that will allow us to do training that will benefit future missions. It will increase payload and booster reliability and allow us to start really building a skill base there. Alright, so we're going to the moon. Or at least we're trying. Okay, that would be overkill. This is still kind of overkill, but I'm trying to get it to the moon, so it may have to be kind of extra. 5 months build time for this rocket. So we really like the moon. Maybe we can still accomplish. Going to keep researching boosters. So we can expand our repertoire in that regard. So we're not being wasteful whenever we launch stuff that's just going to the moon or... Group of children on the opposite side of the world managed to pick up radio signals from your recent orbiting satellite as part of a school project. This story has been widely covered in the press. Okay, we can splurge a little and send some mission memorabilia. We already got support. I mean, that's not necessary, but... how cool would that be, you know, to be one of the kids on the receiving end of that sort of thing? Being a bit sentimental there. Alright, the rocket test pad is complete. I think it's time to do a little bit more clearing before we build anything else. We really like the moon. Launch reliability is up to 71%. That's not a bad thing. Okay, because we have the rocket test pad, we can train to increase the science outcome of the mission, or we can try to increase the launch reliability, which, considering that it's only 71%, which 71% is not bad, but I want to do better. So, at the same time, let's get this in the air next month. And beat everyone to the punch. Because I'm sure you saw that we were not the only ones aiming for the moon. An historic day for early internet memes everywhere. 77% launch reliability. I like those numbers.
4, 3, 2, 1.
And
We have liftoff.
to the moon we go. Alright. Now. Oh, nice. Extra command, which will come in handy because this is a new kind of mission. Remember that thing we did when we launched the first artificial satellite and had to sort of guide it toward the optimal completion of its tasks? You have to do that every time you launch a new kind of mission. Alright, we have to gather 2 data and 3 navigation. So, now remember, your minimum that you're trying to reach is 2 data and 3 navigation, but if you can do better, you get a bonus. We don't have to have the comms, but as you saw when I was setting up the command sequence, you can basically use the comms to buy your navigation and data points. Alright, so we spent 1 more unit of power than we were expecting there. And we had an extra command just for that first turn because of that roll of the dice during launch. So now we have to start being a bit more thrifty. Good outcome. Alright, generates an additional unit of comms. Not necessary to the outcome of the mission, but very handy to have. Well, paid for that one. Alright. It would be dandy to come up with enough to meet the bonus reward. It's still early days yet. Payload reliability, well... Oh, that was right on the edge. Okay, good. Alright, this is our last turn. Sometimes, like if you're flying an interplanetary mission, you will have these screens pop up over periods of months in game time as mid-course corrections are made and other events in the mission happen. For example, we're not done here yet. We just performed the translunar injection. Now we have to achieve lunar orbit by gathering 3 comms and 4 data. And after this, we will call it a day for this week, but challenging stuff. Okay, so our minimum times 4 batteries. Oh, you're killing me, Smalls. Really? Sometimes you just kind of need to accept the outcome and not spend power to fight it. Especially if you don't have power to spend on doing that. Now, it's time to start doing some horse trading stats so we can at least meet the minimum requirements of the mission. If you don't meet the minimum requirements of the mission, it fails, and you have to start from scratch. Ow. Alright. Well, we're not going to meet the... Could we? No, we're not going to meet the bonus requirements, but we can at least try to overshoot the requirements. Okay, that's better. That's what I like to see. Alright, so I think we just... Is that the first lunar orbit? The first uncrewed lunar orbit. So we are handily leading the space race here. But it's only going to heat up from here on out.